Enterprises have ways that they have developed and implemented to control access to enterprise resources. And these are ways that have been in place and sold by suppliers for a very long time. And for example, Microsoft has Active Directory, and these have been long-standing and proven technologies that have really put security at the forefront of what an enterprise does. But it's always with the employees, the last mile that counts the most. And the last mile means that the employee in the end needs to be able to access enterprise resources. And in order to do so, he has to identify himself. The username password combination for doing so has been around for a long, long time and has given the ability for IT directors and people in the governance departments to put forward requirements with regards to how complex a password would be or need to be in order to be in line with all of the certifications that the company needs to apply for. And doing that is always good, but there's always the human factor in this case that people tend to take convenience. So selecting a very secure password is not something that people do by default and that they have an interest in. So what if we can change that very first step by something else? That's something else that is a lot more convenient to people, but still gives system administrators and IT directors and people in the governance department the security that actually this is done really and very well. And this is done by Digi3 in a way that has been trialed and trailblazed in the cryptocurrency industry. And it's called a private and public key pair. And this is a way that people transact between two individuals without a third party in the middle, and they transact value or they execute smart contracts, which in the end can be really valuable transactions for the individuals. And it has been ongoing and working for the last 2 decades in terms of that particular industry. Now, what Digi3 is doing is that it's taking that element of technology, that way of actually proving that I have authenticity and that I am in charge of my access and identity, taking that into the enterprise space and allowing the username and password and just the username and password combination to be replaced by a modern technology, private and public key combination, where the individual can now prove that he has that private key on his device very conveniently with an app, and he just presses a button which in the end signs a login request, just like he would enter a password, but he has no choice in terms of how complex that private key is. He just gets that from the enterprise, and the enterprise is also in control to obviously retract, invalidate it if or when that enterprise needs or has the desire to. So it does not affect any of the internal mechanisms that have been constructed and that have been used in the history of the enterprise and that have been built by other technologies. It just takes away the actual front door and the key to open the front door to all of those right structures by not using a username password combination, but by actually giving it signing capability by doing it through private and public keys.